Hey everybody, it's me, P Knudten, and I'm doing my Bookward Bound. What am I calling this dang thing? I'm calling it Bookward Bound 301 Days from I should really do this to done. And the goal of this is to create a new book in time for Social Media Marketing World 2021. And to do that, I pretty much have to have stuff already done and wrapped up, ready to get to Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing by, I'm going to say, January 1st, 2021. So that's the goal. I've had this book idea in my head forever. It's time to get it out of my head and onto the page. And to do that, I'm enlisting you as my kick in the pants, my fire under my butt, my keep me honest audience. That is going to actually help me get this done by doing things like this. Today, I'm not feeling terribly productive. But I did have a date with you, and so I'm going to keep it. And I'm going to move my book ball forward, if you will, down the field just a little bit. It might only be a yard. It might be 6 inches for all I know. But the fact is, by making a commitment to you, I'm actually here now, ready to work on this darn thing. Now, yesterday, if you were watching, you know that I was working on a keynote presentation that I'm actually going to be giving on Friday here in Madison, Wisconsin. And it's all about personal branding. Yay. Which is all tied into the idea of nonfiction branding. A nonfiction brand is discovering, crafting, and communicating the completely true, completely you brand that you already are. And does that mean it's only for personal brands? Well, the fact is it's for anybody who's under a Fortune 500 company in size. If you're a small business, let's say under 50 employees, every employee that works for you is actually an extension of your brand. What they do, the way they do it, reflects 100% on you and your business's brand. So to me, there's really no division between a small business brand and a personal brand. And so when I say personal brand, if you're a small business, put small business, replace personal brand with small business, and vice versa. If I say small business, go ahead and plug in personal brand, and you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. At any rate, I want to make sure that this talk that I'm going to be giving, a lot of the subject matter is absolutely perfect for inside the book. For instance, like you'll see here, branding gets personal, the Rosetta Stone. Hold on, there we go. Now you can see it. You'll see Tom Peters' 8/13/97 Fast Company article. Well, funny thing, that reflects right there. Fast Company magazine in August of 1997. An article came out called "The Brand Called You." You can't move up if you don't stand out. Yep, absolutely. So anyone who thinks that that personal branding is new, you're wrong. You're off by almost 30 years. Wow. Is it really almost 30 years now? Or 23 years, let's call it that. Let's see, where are we now? 24 years. So I'm looking down my keynote to see what parts, if you don't own it, it's not yours. Oh, that's a major theme of nonfiction branding and personal branding from my point of view. So I need to make sure that it's here in my outline. And I'm just going to get it down here. Why brand? Let's go. If you don't own it, it's not yours. Oh boy, and have I learned that the hard way. Brands, relationship, if you don't own it, yeah. This is the nice thing about a mind map. If I want to move stuff around, it's easy to do. I can even move it over here if I want, but I'm going to leave it where it is right now. So that's a major theme that I needed to make sure got in the book, and guess what? It's in the book outline, so yay. And then another key point is your personal brand is 100% yours. And I've got a bunch of examples of that, and so I'm going to include them in here. And so who am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about Sarah Gross, SZ. I'm going to move this over here. I think I'll only do one, and I'll focus on her because she's an excellent example of that. I'm also going to make a note. I met someone at Social Media Marketing World, Justin Baker, and he has a really cool job. He's doing social media for voiceover artists. Did you know? Jeff Henson, dude, this is hilarious. Hey, Jeff, how are you, man? Jeff, I don't know if you paid any attention to these, but I'm getting ready to write a book, and I'm doing it live over the next 301 days. Actually, this is day 7 of 301, so bear with me. But I was just saying that I met Justin Baker at Social Media Marketing World this year, and he's really got an interesting job. He's a social media guy who works with voiceover artists on creating a social community for them, because I didn't know this until I started talking to Justin. But he said, hey, hi to you, Jeff Henson. How's everything in Arizona? It's Arizona, right? Yeah. Anyway, but he told me that he works with a lot of voices that you would recognize, but faces you wouldn't, because they're nonfiction brand, they're voiceover artists, and they do things like the voices for Japanese anime cartoons that come to the United States, or maybe they're doing the voices for any type of American created animation, TV show, web show, you name it. And he was telling me that, believe it or not, actors now get gigs over other actors, not because they're more famous or that they are responsible for a bigger box office receipts, for a movie or something. But in the case of voiceover artists, it's the passion and size of their online communities. Yeah, so if 2 voiceover artists are up for a part in an animated series, if one of them has a online community of 15,000, but another one has an online community of 75,000, the person with the 75,000 person community online is going to get the job, because the production companies understand that, hey, if you've got 75,000 fans who love you, they're going to come watch the show and perhaps love the series. And if you can create a cast that cobbles together several million fans online because of the voice talent in it, you're likely to do much better as a TV show. I mean, seriously, it used to be just about dollars and cents, and now it's getting to be about the size of your online community, the size of the number of followers you have on Instagram, Facebook, yeah, you name it, whatever the channel is. So that to me is fascinating, and I actually want to talk to him about that in an upcoming podcast, the Nonfiction Brand podcast. Hey, Jeff, have you checked out the Nonfiction Brand podcast? I'm looking into my Ecamm here. It comes out every Monday. In fact, yesterday's episode, I think, is episode number 81, and it features a guy named Nate Stark, who's really building his personal brand in the real estate space, as he's also building a very cool app for school districts. Kind of cool. Anyway, I'm going to keep on doing what I was doing, which is, I know I want to talk to Justin Baker, and let's call this voiceover stories. Yeah, definitely check it out, Jeff. And can you say hi to Sydney for me? It's been a while, man. It's been a while. Voiceover artist story. So, and the thing is, Justin represents some people you'd probably recognize because they've been on TV shows, or you'd certainly recognize their voices because you've watched those TV shows. So again, I'm just grabbing stuff from the keynote that I'm giving on Friday and making sure a lot of the content is in my book outline. As you can see, I've got an extensive book outline growing here. But a lot of the times, and I work very organically, meaning I don't do a whole lot of planning. Instead, I just think about stuff and plug it into a presentation I'm giving, and then develop it in the presentation and go, my gosh, I should really include this in the book. So that's what I'm doing. Oh, yeah, personal brands, influencers. Every influencer is a brand, but not vice versa. What does that mean? Let me get this in here. But not vice versa. But not. A lot of people think personal branding is only for 22-year-old makeover people on Instagram and stuff like that. And I'm here to tell you, you are 100% wrong. Because, and it's funny, I'm talking to Jeff Henson because he'll remember who I worked for in the past. And it didn't matter if you were the creative powerhouse behind everything the company was doing. Push comes to shove, and you're the highest paid person there, and they need to make some cuts. Guess who's going? The person in their X years. Now, here's a concept. Your X years. Ooh, I got to put that in there. Your X years are when you are experienced, when you're excellent at what you do, when you're expensive, and therefore expendable. Now, some people will even put another X on there, which is get divorced and have an ex-spouse. But I've avoided that successfully, knock on wood. I love you, Elizabeth. But the fact is that, I'm sorry, when you get a little bit of gray on your chin like me, if you don't own it, going back to a previous thing I just said, if you don't own it, it's not yours. Well, the company that you're the engine for, you don't own it. They can unbolt you and replace you with a newer, faster, younger, less expensive engine, or so they think it's faster and better. Not necessarily true. But the perception is you're expensive, therefore you're expendable. If you are a personal brand, you can immediately take yourself someplace else because people already know who you are. And when you do personal branding the right way, people, when they find out you're available, they jump all over you and say, hey, I heard you're no longer with XYZ company. Can we get coffee? That type of coffee conversation is really a conversation about, so would you be interested maybe in working with us? That happens when you're a personal brand. And it's not just about old guys or older guys. I'm not an old guy. I'm an older guy. I'm an older guy. I'll cop to that. But it's not just about me. In fact, on this, you'll see that I want to tell Sarah Gross's story. Sarah Gross is a dropout from college as recently as 2 years ago. And she's had in that 2-year period, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 jobs that were not just, server jobs, stuff like that, but working in marketing. But she's been able to bounce up, 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 up. And now she's the head of influencer marketing at a company in Los Angeles, I think. I need to get more information about that for the story. But the point is that this dropout from college was able to build her personal brand to the point that she was sought after by companies because she demonstrated who she was, who she is, what she does, and how she actually does it. So that goes over here, demonstration. So that's another key thing I want to talk about. Another one, fake it till you make it. No. I hear a lot of younger people say, I'm faking it till I make it. It's like, no, don't fake it till you make it. No. Demon. It till you make it. And that's another idea. The personal brands. Every influence is not a personal brand. I think the demonstration part will have to come under this. But again, you can see how I'm getting the ideas in the outline, and then I'm moving them where they need to go. And I'm not married to this at all at this point. I'm just kind of getting my word vomit on the table, and then I'm sorting through it to try to find some really great ideas. Demonstrate it and you'll make it. I've got some good examples in here. That's Sarah Gross. And by the way, that's the photo she gave me. So it's not. I'm not picking one that makes her look funny. She did that on purpose because she's not afraid to, quote, break things. And that's what I love about her. Another person that I wrote about in my first book, Katie George, is a cosplayer who works for Workfront. So boom, boom, I'm going to point that out, just like in the book, Rotoma, the ROI of Social Media Top of Mind. She's got 42,000 followers. Why? Because Katie George cosplays. What's cosplaying? This is cosplaying. She goes to things like Comic-Con, WizardCon, or any of the anime cons and dressed up as a favorite character from something. So she has created a really effective personal brand that gets her a lot of attention, so much so that she's a valuable person for Workfront, the company for whom she works. Yeah, Workfront. Do you think they have 42,000 fans on Instagram? No, they do now because they've hired Katie George. And again, 42,000 followers. Holy moly. That's really great. And, of course, I always will put it this way. Any guesses how many Workfront users go to Comic-Con? I'm guessing a whole bunch. So she's really, really valuable. I want to grab another one. Brand. Ooh, branding under umbrella. I've got another talk that I'm giving in April, and it's called Branding Under an Umbrella. Subtitle, Building Yours While Working for Theirs. And this is about, in fact, the talk I'm giving on Friday is called Inviting a Culture of Personal Brands. This is kind of the other side of that. Instead of talking to people who work for the business, and hey, Matt Nelson, good to see you, man. Wondering what kind of camera, mic, and lighting setup you're using. I'm actually using, this is a poor man's setup that still costs a little bit of money. Meaning, I'm a cheap-ass rat bastard who tries to save money wherever possible because I have two daughters in college and one more on the way. So right now I'll show you this. This is one of those little arms that costs about, I don't know, under $15 on Amazon. This microphone is a Shure Beta 87, if I'm not mistaken, and it's a really decent quality condenser microphone with a hypercardioid pattern. What does that mean? It means that it'll record everything that comes this way, but it won't record stuff behind the actual microphone capsule. Why do I want that? Well, until I got this brand new MacBook Pro 16-inch, I had a 2015 15-inch MacBook Pro that when all this stuff was going on, the fans would kick on and it would sound like a tornado almost. So I wanted to get the most isolation for the microphone, and you can see I even point it kind of away from where my computer is right in front of me. So a Beta 87 by Shure, Shure, highly recommended, about $250. But frankly, I've got other microphones too from back when I played music a lot. Like a Shure SM58, which is the go-to rock and roll standard of a microphone. That's about $100. It sounds great. This microphone's going into a Focusrite 2i2 Scarlett USB interface. Why do I do that? because I use the same box for when I record people who come to my house for a podcast episode. This way I can have 2 channels going in, both of which are using good or better quality microphones. It goes into my MacBook Pro 16-inch, and I'm actually projecting or broadcasting this via a Macintosh-only program called Ecamm Live. I highly recommend it. Super easy to use, super fun to use, because I can do stuff like this. Oh, look, I'm switching to my B cam. Oh, look, I'm going back to my A cam. Oh, look, I can add some graphics like this. Oh, look, I can play some music, some theme music, or I can shift to other show names of things that I'm doing. Pretty cool, right? So again, Shure Beta 87 into a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 USB interface, straight into my MacBook Pro 16-inch, brand new, a couple months old. But let me tell you, my 2015 handled this stuff beautifully. So it's not like you have to have a absolute latest, greatest model to get this and have it happen. Let's see, what else should I tell you about? Oh, big pro tip. Trackpad, or, one of these magic trackpads by Apple. It does all the same type of gestures as you're used to on your phone, like when you want to zoom in or zoom out, things like that, pinch things, move stuff. It's really easy to use and doesn't make any noise. It's not like you're mousing all over the place. So that's cool too. And just to let you know, this I always work in Apple Keynote because it's so much better than Microsoft's PowerPoint. I hate PowerPoint, but Keynote is fantastic. Highly recommended. You can get a great looking presentation very easily. And the beautiful thing about this is it doesn't do that kind of half-butt thing of, okay, we'll put a proxy for your image in your presentation, and then we'll keep the original in a folder, and then you will go to present, and you realize you don't have the folder of images. This always embeds it right into the Keynote itself. It has saved my bacon countless times. And then the other thing I'm using right here is a master, what is it called? Mind mapping tool called iThoughts. Exactly how you think it's spelled. I, lowercase I, thoughts. And I'm not even sure what it costs because I've had it like forever. And the cool thing is I also have it on my iPhone. So when I'm out and about, like sitting outside of I don't know, picking up my daughter at school, I can sit there and have an idea and get it and plug it right into the mind map that will then automatically sync with my laptop, with my iPhone. It's fantastic. Really, really love it. Anyway, anytime you have questions, by all means, I'm keeping my eye on the little chat boxes up here. Oh, I want to show you this cool thing. So, Matt, you asked that question. Oh, look at that. Oh, you can't really see it. Let me go to the Hero Cam and put you in there. I can actually bring your comment on screen, which I probably should have done. Sorry, guys. Not perfect yet, but that's why I'm doing this. I'll be honest. Part of the reason I wanted to do 301 consecutive live streams every day for 301 days is so I can burn all this, I don't know how to do this, out of me to the point where it's second nature. Like, if you've ever worked with a graphic designer and you say, yeah, I think that needs a little drop shadow, and they go, blah, 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 and you're like, what did you do? And they go, well, I think I did a right click. They don't know how they did it. They just did it because they've done it so much. It's like a good musician. A really great musician practices so much that they don't have to read the music and they don't even have to think about the music. They just have to interpret the music. It's kind of that perfect flow state. That's what I'm working for, baby. I want to get in that flow state. I'm not there yet, but with your help, I am going to be. So back to getting this book written, which you'll notice you guys have taken me totally off topic, but that's okay. That's what this is for, too. All right, so brand floats both boats. Where am I going to put that? Well, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to get this in here. And, brand floats both boats is just kind of a nice writerly slogany phrase that hopefully will get people's attention. I think headlines are almost like bumper stickers. Good bumper stickers are short, pithy, and memorable. That's what I'm aiming for here. So I'm grabbing some of that. This will be talking about employee advocacy, which is a concept that a lot of companies are using. Employee. I have been a writer for close to 30 years, and I still type as poorly as I did in high school. It's not my milieu. It's not my forte or my fort. Let's see, best practice. Get that in there. Let's call that company hashtag. That's not only a best practice, it's actually the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, I think, mandates that any social media has got to have a company hashtag. Yeah, Jeff, well, I'm sorry, dude. Absolutely. Jeff Henson, okay, so I'm going to thank you for your question, Matt. I got to address this. Jeff Henson says this almost makes me want to write again. Absolutely, my friend. I mean, come on. Jeff and I worked together for a while on, actually, he's the reason I went head over heels or ass over tea kettle on a off-road motorcycle outside Tijuana, Mexico. Thanks, Jeff. That was such a fantastic trip. But Jeff is a really great writer, and I know him as a writer within the off-road motorsport space, and also a great photographer too. So Jeff Henson, dude, I should get you on the podcast as well, because I could talk to you about how you build your personal brand as a writer and as a photographer and everything else. Yeah, I look when I type too. You are so right about that. Except I don't when I'm not sitting here talking to you guys. To be honest, you're messing me up a little bit, baby. You are. But that's okay, because again, it's about getting better. Your first at-bats are going to be a little bit scary, but the more you do it, the better you're going to get. Jeff, thank you very much for that comment. He says, and I'm putting it on screen, so you're a natural. A natural what is my question? Don't answer that. Or maybe that'll be a quiz. Anyway, going through this. Okay, this is interesting. So a best practice for anybody who's working online is that if you're working for a company, you need to have a company hashtag to identify that you are, in fact, representing the company. So here in Madison, Wisconsin, American Family Insurance, guess what? Their hashtag is I work for AmFam. But guess what? They're not alone. In fact, you can see all over the place. Hold on, I want to get that out of the way. You can see, look, I work for Dell, I work for Enterprise, I work for Meyer, I work for Diageo, I work for JCP, which I believe must be JCPenney, right? So all these companies have people who are actually blogging or posting about them, and they need to do it in the right way. So again, part of my talk Friday is going to be about this. How do you do that? How do you control that? And one of the concepts I'm talking about is the idea that you have to celebrate the people doing it, but you need to calibrate them at the same time. No one likes being told what to do, so I want to get this in there. Celebrate. No one wants to be told what to do, and yet they need to learn what to do, especially the what I like to refer to as the no-fly zones for your company. It's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that. So you can either slap people on the hand or praise the ones who are doing it right. I think you have to do a little bit of both, but err on the side of celebration of, boy, you did a fantastic job. This is the way you do XYZ. Like if you're at an event, Instagramming it, take a look at the photos that Steve did. Aren't they fantastic? And look at the captions, and he always used the hashtag correctly. You got to teach people how to do that. And the way to do it is, by celebrating it. Do you guys know Pat Flynn of the Smart Passive Income podcast? He's fantastic. Listen to it, and you'll be inspired. And he likes to say the riches are in the niches. So no matter what you do, you could be very successful at it because the more specialized you are, the more opportunity you have. Why? Because instead of being a jack of all trades, master of none, you are a master of one. And if you're in the smallest of niches possible, you can own that niche. How cool is that? And again, that's what nonfiction branding is about. Because an example, okay, this is funny. I was just at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego. And for years in my presentations, I've always tried to use the example of the most, call it interesting-less job out there, or a job that's just not very sexy. And so I always used a plumber. Everyone knows what a plumber is. And a lot of people would go, how can a plumber use social media? Well, I'm there the very first day. I got there early to get my credentials, my laminated, whatever, my pass. And I sat down just to catch up on, social media, whatever I was doing, my email or something. And I look up and there's a guy with his back facing me. And this dude is promoting himself like a vinyl wrapped cargo van. I mean, and his name is Roger Wakefield. I'm going to have him on the Nonfiction Brand podcast. And I saw it and I'm like, oh my God, I got to talk to this guy because he's doing what I've been talking about for years. So I go up and I talk to him, and real nice guy from Texas. He's got this Yosemite Sam mustache, super cool, fun guy. And we started talking, and it turns out we started going to Social Media Marketing World at the same time in 2018. So I'm like, oh, a little bit of affinity there. You haven't been doing this for 10 years. You only started about 3 years ago. Cool. So we're talking, and he starts telling me about his business as a plumber. And I don't have all the story yet because I haven't recorded with him for the podcast. But he told me that when he came to 2018's Social Media Marketing World, his business was in trouble. Serious, serious trouble. In fact, I learned later that while he was at the event, his wife called him and said, by the time you get home, we're going to be out of business. It was that dire. Well, this guy, he had the right attitude, which was he came to Social Media Marketing World, learned a ton, and came when he got home, he and his wife are talking, and they had a person who was working with him on branding or marketing. And he said, everything we're doing, we're not doing anymore. Scorched earth, we're restarting. Fast forward 3 years. He now has 30,000 followers as a plumber on YouTube. On YouTube. And he's not doing just, and again, I need to talk to him. I don't have all the deets yet. But he doesn't do just how to fix a leaky faucet videos. He will do how to run a successful plumbing business from the point of YouTube's expert plumber. I think he goes by expert plumber. And actually, he's had YouTube fly him out to give talks to tradespeople so that they can see how they can use YouTube to build their businesses. So this guy, 3 years ago, almost out of business, working in a commodity environment. What's the difference? A $75 an hour plumber is that much better than a $50 an hour plumber? It's a commodity for most people, unless you're a brand. If you've ever paid for that $50 plumber and then had to have them come out 3 times, you might not have a problem paying the expert plumber to come out at $150 an hour to do it right the first time. That's building a personal brand. That's driving people to you because of who you are, what you do, and how you do it, as demonstrated by yourself online and in person as well. So that's what this book is about, people. And I should probably get back to it. So anyway, all right, so I'm over here. I'm going to use Susie Orman as an example. Yeah, I should get her down too. I should, and by the way, I'm going to use this book as a way to get to Susie Orman and say, hey, can I get you on the podcast? I want to pick your brain because I'm going to write about you, and I'd like to get the straight story. And it's a level up strategy, to be honest. Having a podcast is a fantastic level up strategy. If you're talking to people who are flying at a higher altitude than you are, you're with them. Do it enough, and you rise with them. Is it mercenary? A little bit, but I am known to be a little bit mercenary. So this is financial services. All right. Do you do professional development? Do you get credit for the professionals you're developing? Yeah, culture community. So the group I'm speaking to is called Culture Community. And I'm trying to make the point that all the people there, are you getting credit for even being here? Because you should. And the way you can is by doing mastering this unselfish selfie, which is a concept that I introduced in my first book, Pratoma, the ROI of Social Media Top of Mind. But it's all about doing exactly what I've been talking about and what this book will be about. For example, I gave a talk at the American Marketing Association meeting in Madison, Wisconsin. At the end of it, I took a picture of all these people. You can't see all of them, but I think there are about 50 people in the frame. And then I make the point that you can't post the photo you didn't take. And you don't get credit for the thing you went to. Oh, by the way, I posted up on LinkedIn. In 24 hours, it's got close to 2,000 views. And then I say, we can do better than that, right? And then I have everybody in the audience smile and lean in. Why? Because I then use that photo as a means to tag everybody in the photo, put it on LinkedIn, potentially Facebook as well, but mostly LinkedIn. That's my number one. And then, when's the last time someone took a picture of you and tagged you in it that you didn't seek it out to see if it was a good picture of you? And then if it was a good picture of you, when have you not said, hey, could you send me that picture? It's a level up strategy, people. And it's all about building your personal brand. So again, I need to get back to good old Susie Orman. Where am I going to talk about her? Oh, I don't know. But again, I'm just getting these thoughts on paper. I'm heading over here. Do you like that portmanteau? Consistent she. That's the way the DP rolls, people. What can I say? You got to go for the corn. Every day is Thanksgiving Day. I'm going to get that down. This doesn't mean anything to you, but it means everything to me. Every day is Thanksgiving Day. No. Oh. Are your no-fly zones? Again, this is not the book. The book is not done, but all these concepts are seeds that I need to remember. And the way my brain works is it's not linear. I'm sorry. Some people have a very linear mind. I'm not one of those people. I'm like a fly over a bodega, flit over here, sit on a cantaloupe for a while, flit over here, sit on a lottery ticket, flit over here, drink some Coke off of someone's plastic cup lid. It's just the way I roll. But that's okay, because every book is going to be written not by the one official way to write a book. It's going to be written by the person writing it in the way they do things. That's a lot of extra pounds. I'm not following you, Jeff. Give me a little more detail there. Oh, if every day is Thanksgiving Day, you're absolutely right. That would be a lot of extra pounds. I'm dragging with you now, mister. But my greater point is, if you want to write a book in the way that you can do it to get it done. What I've demonstrated here is how I'm taking the nebulous thoughts that are in here, I'm plugging it into an Apple keynote that I'm going to give Friday. I'm going to see what resonates at that event on Friday, make note of that, and make sure to include that in the book. Why? Because believe it or not every utterance that comes out of my mouth is brilliant or appreciated. But the ones that do, I want to know that, because that's what people want to learn more about. Anyway, I think that's going to be it for me today. Once again, I'm P Knudten for the Nonfiction Brand podcast, which comes out every Monday. Check it out. Episode 81 just dropped yesterday. And also Nonfiction Brandversity, which is currently a free Facebook group. All you have to do is search Nonfiction Brandversity on Facebook, ask to join, and you are in. There may be some developments on that front, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not loving the Facebook. It's the most loudest, most garish, most shiny object, bizarre on the face of the earth, and I don't think that's necessarily the best place for me and the community I want to build. So watch for information about that. But if you're interested, join the Nonfiction Brandversity Facebook group, because you'll get the information about where it might go to in the future. And also you'll meet a lot of different people, a lot of really fun people, a lot of really interesting people who all want to build their personal, professional, nonfiction brands in a way that is completely true to who they are as a person. Branding is not about a sticker that you put on or a lip gloss. Well, actually, I might come out with nonfiction brand lip gloss. Anyway, enough about me. Make it all about you. Start thinking about who you are, what you do, and how you do it. And then make sure you use the incredible power tools of social media to let the entire world know. Exactly. Say it with me. Who you are, what you do, and how you do it. That's nonfiction branding, baby. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.